Hello guys, this is week 14 of this project of mine, Rebuilding My Life in Public. Today I have two main subjects. I have been thinking about it and that I would like to share with you because they were kind of the two main topics I had in my mind this week. First one is about something I experienced. I'm right now in Paris visiting my grandfather and grandmother and Rambouillet to be precise, next to Paris. And it was the kind of moment when you realize that, and I talk about it on social media too, which is the fact that when you are traveling, it's like your brain is working differently as it does when you are home, I would say, in your hometown. And wait, almost done. Got it. And truly, I think that the process of reasoning we go through when we are traveling is mainly different, and I only found one reason why, which is that we allow ourselves to think about our own thoughts with a liberty and a freedom that is not normally what we got when we are on a day-to-day basis following our routine. And I talk about this precisely not only when you are walking on the street on a new city, but also the conversations you have when you are traveling with friends, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. I think that the idea of feeling that you are outside your hometown or your comfort zone is liberating your brain in the sense of thinking about different options that if you were at home will be considered not possible or not logical. And hopefully when you are traveling, this process is totally cut because your entourage is allowing you to think differently. You are experiencing different sensations, seeing new things, knowing new people, seeing new people that you are not seeing on your day-to-day basis. And I think that this kind of happy process, or maybe the happiness that is being considered or used when you are traveling, is unlocking a lot of different fields in your brain that push you to consider new options, and therefore your process of thinking is taking you to results that you wouldn't get to, or at least not close enough, when you are in your hometown. This is maybe, let me illustrate it with some kind of ideas. This trip, I had conversations about how the classes in society work and how they've changed through time, also considering myself, using examples of some friends of mine, family, etc. The kind of conversation that maybe I could have had being in my hometown, but it's true that the time you spend also when you are traveling in comparison to when you are in your hometown seeing your friends or your family is much larger. So I think that there's a moment when the routine of the conversation, which is how was your day, what are your news, how are you feeling, are you doing some sport, are you eating well, or the kind of subjects you might have with your friends and family, it's different the more time you spend with them. And I think that that's also important to consider, because at the end it comes back to the idea of that the depth of the conversations is also done even if you have the total trust and friendship and relationship for a long time with that person. It also comes the more time you spend with them. And I think that that's at least what I'm taking out of this trip, and is maybe the reason why I like traveling so much. Not only because you know new cultures and you see new people, new places, etc., but I think that now I will consider also that myself is feeling more excited about traveling, because I know that I will get to new ideas that I wasn't able to get to when my entourage was the same one that I live every day. So this is kind of the main thing on the main topic. And the second one is I'm in Paris because I had a run this Sunday in Paris. That was a beautiful run. It was not truly a half marathon, it was 20K. But I think that, and I have been preparing for it, so it wasn't the kind of race that took me by surprise. And hopefully I did a good result. That's not the idea of the video, but it's true that there is something that happened almost at the end of the race, which got me to the second part of this video, and I think that is kind of the main idea that I wanted to share with you today, is that we were in the last kilometers, and I was with a friend of mine that is about to go to sleep, so this video is going to be shorter because of that. We need to rest. It was a long day, and we were about to get to the end point, about to get the medal, have the 20K completed, etc. And it was, I think, that the 18 kilometer, there were 2 kilometers left. And it started kind as a joke, I was going to say, but not truly, because I started talking because we were in a moment of doing a lot of effort. We were really pushing ourselves to the limit of what we had at that specific moment. And I started doing like kind of a speech, I could say, a motivational speech, the kind of speech you see on videos when Al Pacino is talking to a room full of American football players, etc. But truly, it wasn't to make a joke. It was really because it was what I felt at that moment. My legs were hurting. My breathing was totally different. My pulse was on the sky. I was only thinking on all the suffering we went through and we go through in life, and not because I'm an exception, but every kind of suffering and pain. I think that lives from people are totally different, but you will get this feeling whatever you are experiencing in life. So and whether it's the suffering, whether it's the situations when we are told no, when we think we deserve a yes, when we are feeling unlucky, when we know that things could be better and we need to keep dealing with the fact that they are not. I think that it was kind of a moment when, while I was talking and spitting facts, let's say like this, I started getting really emotional because it went through my skin and also inside my body, and the fact that all the things that I was saying were true, and maybe that run wasn't that important for me because at the end I already have done half marathons, etc., even though a marathon last year, and it wasn't the kilometers that made the race difficult, I was going to say, but it was that I'm trying to get to any length in my life, whatever subject I'm on right now, whether it is dreamily, physically, reading, spending time with my family or trying to take care of them, whatever subject is right now a priority of mine, I'm giving everything, and everything I got at least. And I think that it was the kind of moment when you realize that the little things matter, and sometimes you are always pushing yourself too hard. And it's true that this race wasn't a necessity, it was the kind of situation that I could have avoided totally, and I decided not to, because the truth is that there's some excitement behind the effort and the sacrifice, and at least that's how I want to see life. And this is kind of the main topic, or the end of this video is going to be about this, which is passion. And whatever I was feeling while I was running, I decided to put myself there. I knew that I was going to suffer, and the fact that I controlled the timing, meaning I knew that I was going almost to finish in around 1 hour and 45 minutes. That was the objective. Hopefully we did a better timing, even though it was 20 kilometers and not 21. So I cannot compare, but let's say it like this. And I knew that my suffering was going to last for a specific amount of time. So I knew that if I pushed enough, I will finish the race, and I know that I will finish it in 1 hour 45. This is the kind of logic that you cannot apply in life, because you don't have a, how do you say it? The crystal ball, I think that it is, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, a crystal ball. And you cannot see the future. So this is the kind of frustrating thing you feel in life. Whenever you are trying something, you don't know exactly the timing of this suffering, effort, and whatever. And is totally the opposite of sport. And that's the reason why the motivation and psychologically sports people are really an example to take on, because at the end they are pushing themselves always towards competition, and when they lose they feel like shit, and when they win they are heroes. And that kind of different waves from tops and downs are mentally complicated to handle. But I think that in life is exactly the same, and I was going to say even more, because at the end you don't even know who your total competition is. You have new one coming in the middle of the race, super complicated. You don't know exactly what the timing of your competition or your sports event is going to last. So at the end, that's another complicated issue that you have in life. You have no end time that you can set as an objective. So this is complicated too. Today we had no support. This is something that you will experience also in life. At the end, a lot of times the best effort you do and the best results you get are when nobody is seeing you. And today we did one of our best races, and my family wasn't here. The people that was living in, they were living in Paris, they didn't get the chance to come see us. And we did all of this effort alone, in the dark. Nobody that was giving us applauses, whatever the path of the race was. Nobody knew us, so they were only strangers. And at the end, I think that that's also the logic of what happens in life. A lot of times you get applauses from people that are not your people, and the applauses doesn't feel the same, even though they are nice to hear. But I think that the feeling is totally different. So altogether, to say that the only difference that is important to at least think about is that your passion is the only thing nobody is going to take away from you. At least it was the reason and the way I started this speech. It was because of my passion, believing that what I was going to say was true, believing that I was capable of finishing the race, believing that I was capable of doing a better time in the race than what I expected or what I said to myself. So pushing the limits, and that was only done by passion. Our trainings weren't enough. The path wasn't the easiest for our shoes, but we did it because we put all our passion in the last kilometers and during the race to get it done. And I think that sometimes you don't know, even if you don't know when the race is going to end and when your suffering is going to end, the only thing that is taking away from you the idea of finishing maybe faster or getting there faster is putting your passion, and understand that that can be the fuel that gets you there, even though you have no clue if that's going to happen. And maybe sometimes you are following a path that is not the one you need to follow, and life will push you around. It's as if we were running a race, a marathon that was happening in Paris at the same time of our 20K. Life will have told us, no, this is the way you should go to. But at the end, passion is the only thing we cannot lose, because it's what we differentiate us. I think that is our signature at the end. And the fact that we preserve it and we activate it and we allow ourselves to feel it, that's the only thing that is important to maintain. So this is kind of the thinking that I wanted to share with you guys this Sunday. Kind of an important lesson, no red notebook on this video, but I think that this is going to be sticking with me during all this process, because I think that it was an important lesson. And whatever I will experience in the coming weeks, I need to remember that I have two options: do the same things without passion, or do it with passion. Maybe the end result won't change, but at least I will know how I'm feeling during the process. And that's how I'm going to be playing this game. So guys, thanks a lot again for sticking here with me for this whole video. And see you next week. Happy to listen to your comments. Write to me directly if you have my phone number and social media. If not, don't do it. But if you do, happy to be sharing more content. And if not, see you next Sunday. Thanks again. Goodbye from Paris. See you next week from Alicante. Bye.